the loss of a constitutional right. And that is something that you and I have never borne witness to in our lives. If you pointed out, if you're 50 years old or younger in this country, if you're a woman 50 years old or younger in this country, you've had a right throughout your life to abortion services, a constitutional right to that decision. That is what is being taken away here, a constitutional right.
Hello. And I will just say, in terms of the real world impact on women's lives, Congressman Jamie Raskin raised a really good point about the reasoning in this opinion, which again is a draft opinion. But the way that this is written, it undoes a woman's right to decide whether or not she's going to carry a pregnancy to term. But this also absolutely creates the circumstance in which it is possible for them to overturn a related ruling called Griswold, which is about the right of people to have access to contraception, even if certain state legislatures decide that contraception is evil, or that we want to call contraception abortion, or we want to otherwise make it unavailable to people. It's a straight line from this ruling not only to banning abortion instantly and potentially nationally, but to also preventing Americans from accessing birth control in a ruling that is argued along the same lines as the established precedents that are struck down in this opinion.
Yeah, this is really the result of, if it's hard to believe that crazy is still happening and Trump isn't the president, but crazy is happening because Trump was the president. And Donald Trump vowed to take constitutionally protected rights away from ordinary Americans and allow for a minority government, a minority rule, a minority number of people to decide who has a constitutional right to privacy and who doesn't. And other private issues are also, because listen, the whole idea of privacy, that is just that is not just freedom for me to make a decision about my medical care or whether or not I want to be forced into giving birth by the government, and it's also about every single thing that has been decided based on you have the right to be left alone. You have the right for your government to leave you the F alone unless your government has a compelling interest, meaning a crime is so suspected that you can prove to a court that there's probable cause to believe that you are responsible or that you had something to do with a crime, and a warrant shall be issued. Other than that, everybody believes that they have the right to privacy in their own home, in their own papers, in their own things, in their own phone conversations, in their own associations with people, in their own intimate partners, and the way that they're intimate with their partners, who their partners are, But apparently, no, you don't. And so every single right that has been taken for granted, relied upon by the American people in modern history, every right, the right to gay marriage, the right to marriage at all, the right to privately associate in your own home, the right to be left alone in your own home without probable cause and a warrant being issued, the right to, have health care the way you decide health care should be had by. All these things are now fungible because the crazy, conservative, paid for, black, dark moneyed elite have decided that what the money wants is no constitutionally protected rights for you, and that instead things that you think are protected by the Constitution can now be legislated. All Mississippi now, because this is the draft of the decision that the Supreme Court had voted on after the oral argument, which just might be, something not protected by the Constitution anymore, because, it sounds bad. Oral arguments, they took a vote in December, right after Mississippi's Solicitor General made his compelling case that women don't need constitutional rights to be free in their own person, in their own house, in their own bodies, in their own healthcare decisions. They don't need that anymore. In fact, it's wrong and it has to be done away with. And if anybody relied on that particular 50-year precedent, they were wrong to do so, because we're all Mississippi now. And who in America didn't crave being more like Mississippi now? Of course, that's what we all wanted. It's what we were all striving for, to be to be the poorest, most uneducated, hungriest, sickest, fattest, just most addicted state in the union. That is what we all want from the future. It's so sad. It's so unbelievable. So, now they're talking about, I guess the Senate, I want you to hear how ridiculous this thought is, okay? The Senate has to codify, meaning they have to vote and make a federal law guaranteeing, through legislation, that we as people have a right to privacy, right? That we as people are entitled to be left alone unless the government can demonstrate a compelling interest in what goes on in my uterus or in what goes on in your anus. Yeah. But remember, we have an election coming up. And if the Republicans, who are historically slated to take the majority of both the House and the Senate, win, they'll just unlegislate it.